Welcome back to the Convention Creators Podcast, where we deep dive into the wild and wonderful world of conventions, creative business, and all things organised chaos.
Oh, I was waiting for in between. I'm PB, the pen and paper bear this week, because for the first time, we're rolling the dice and stepping into an entirely different kind of event, UK Games Expo.
And I am Jay Bear, and that is right, Conventioneers. This is the biggest tabletop gaming event in the UK, and it's a completely different crowd and vibe from the pop culture and anime cons we usually cover. We're talking board games, pen and paper RPGs, card games, miniatures, you name it, they have it.
This is our first time attending this event, so we're diving headfirst into this new world with some fresh merch, a new perspective, and absolutely no idea what we're in for or what I am doing today, apparently. So.
No idea at all. We are going to be talking about our prep, our new designs, specifically made for the crowd, the booth plans, and how we're getting ready to meet this whole new type of audience. So, let's roll for initiative and get this episode started.
Let's go. Before we start the episode, I would like to say that we are recording these back-to-back in batch just before MCM weekend. So there might be a few inconsistencies with regards to the timeline of when we think this is actually happening. However, they're all done with love, and they're all done with the information we were going to have to the point of episode anyway. So, there you go. Tra-la-la.
Tra-la-la. Yes, Conventioneers, we're back for another episode of the podcast, and we have had a crazy week already. Well, future us has had a crazy week already. It's recovering from the many things we've been up to, conventions and such. And it means that we're not done. There's more cons to do. Got another convention to go, and this one, as you probably gathered from our intro, is the UK Games Expo, which is being held in Birmingham. We're returning. We're back again.
Okay, let's calm down.
What are we even saying? What are we even saying? Yes, we at the time of airing, we are currently at MCM London, but we also are gearing up towards UK Games Expo because they are back to back. They are two major events in the convention calendar, and they are less than 6 days apart. So it's very much all hands on deck. Go from one thing to another, and hope that we have enough stuff.
Yes, which, I'm sure we will. It'll be fine. It's all fine. It's kind of funny to me in the sense that I can think all the way back to like one of our first episodes where I was like, there isn't that much demand for a con about board games and stuff, is there? And you just very politely were like, oh my boy, you have no idea, like the scale, how big. And you brought up UK Games Expo. It's like there is literally a convention about tabletop stuff, and it is one of the biggest conventions. It is massive, and at the time I remember being like, really, and literally fast forward a few months, and now we're trading at it.
Yeah.
It's kind of insane. I will be honest, as you probably gathered from that reaction of being so surprised how there was even a convention of this scale in the first place. I know nothing about board games, really. I know nothing about tabletop stuff.
Do you actually know anything?
It's just a whole world that is even newer to me than conventions. So the way I am going into this blind is
you and me both.
Yeah,
you and me both. Not because I not only know very little about board games because it's just not something I really have been around too much, with the exception of things like Monopoly and Battleships, which is very retro and just tells people my age, really. But with the exception of some tabletop role-playing and card games, I am not very well versed in this universe as much as I would love to be, and I have not even attended this convention as an attendee yet. So everything that I know about it is literally through word of mouth from other artists, and they had a lot of interesting things to say, I will admit. So I'm very much looking forward to it.
I think it's gonna be good, and yeah, it's crazy that I had no idea this thing existed. You way you talked about it originally was like, I hear good things. I've never been able to get in myself, and now we're actually trading. And like the fact that neither of us has even stepped foot in this world is it's gonna be so curious. I have to assume, based on the nature of the theme of it, that it's going to be quite. I'm assuming it's going to be quite different to what we're used to, because it does seem like a different audience.
I think so. Firstly, not only is it, as far as I know, again, it's just me with reading a few documents while I was applying, twice in size of MCM Birmingham. Because MCM Birmingham, they actually book 1 or 2 halls for it. Whereas with this one, I believe there's 4 halls that are being booked for it. It is massive. Obviously, a lot of the floor is dedicated to play areas. There's a lot of areas where people sit down and playtest board games. There's live D&D sessions. There are all sorts of stuff related to the genre. But there is also a very sizable marketplace area, and as far as I can tell, they are quite choosy. I guess it's a wrong way to phrase it, but they definitely go through the applications and make sure that your work fits in with their with what they would like to present. It is a family-friendly-ish event in itself, because it's the board game element and card game element. But on top of that, they also have certain strict rules, like there's no such thing as lucky dip bags. I don't believe that artists are allowed to do lucky dip mystery bags with t-shirts or stickers and stuff like that. I was told already not to bring my mystery t-shirts for this event, which is all fair enough. We like playing by the rules, especially when they make sense. And this event is definitely going to be completely different vibe than the typical anime and comic conventions that we go to.
Yeah, it's definitely going to be very different, I think, from what I've expected. And I was looking through just to get an idea. I was like, I'm going to have a nose and see what sort of things are going on. And there is just such a range of things that you just don't see. Like you mentioned, like, I find it fascinating, this concept of playtesting and the idea that there are publishers who are developing games who are basically literally workshopping them with people to like understand what works, what doesn't work. That I find fascinating. And the idea that yes, they have panels, but then they also have seminars and like teaching you how to play things and all these sort of stuff. It's amazing. It's going to be, I think. I love the fact that all these cons I go to, I get to and literally everyone just seems to offer a completely different experience. It's been really interesting. And I think this one's going to...
I'm glad I'm taking it.
I'm glad I'm going. I still don't fully understand the fact that we're going, in the sense that this wasn't on the agenda in January.
This was not in the agenda until 2 months ago, really. So I have been this convention was put on my radar about 2 years ago, My friend Cindacry mentioned it to me, and me and Paul, who I used to do conventions with at the time, had to think about it. He didn't think that it was the kind of event that he would do well with because of his like Japanese plush toy type thing. Maybe not a good seller for him, or rather he wouldn't fit in or stand out for the wrong reasons, we shall say. But obviously there was the full intention of me applying for this and maybe start doing things that are more related to Baldur's Gate or something of that sort. However, for some reason, it was the event that every time that applications are on, I either have this full disclaimer, no money, because it's not the right time of year, or I'm in between other things and I completely missed the date. And it happened again this year. When it was time to apply for this one, Rob from Printing Like Rabbits said, I'm going to apply for UK Games Expo. Are you going? Are you going to apply? And I'm like, oh yeah, I'll do that. And I didn't. And then we were coming back from PowerCon, actually, which was early March. And while we were driving in the van from Glasgow down to where I live, he was like, oh, so did you hear back from UK Games Expo? Are you accepted? And I'm like, yeah, no, I didn't. And he said, oh, that's strange. And I'm like, yeah, I didn't apply. It's like, oh. So he took it upon himself, actually, to talk to his rep and like casually mention while they were discussing other things for Rob's booth, is there any chance that you have any extra spaces? And the out of nowhere, this person said, well, applications are closed. There's nothing really left. But coincidentally, this morning, 2 spaces cancelled. So does your colleague want one of them? And yeah, it was divine intervention, I suppose. And Rob managed to get us that one spot. I was given a choice of 2. One was a little bit smaller than the other. However, that was reflected in the price as well. And I ended up choosing the bigger space so I have more width. And therefore, I was able to take more t-shirts because, as we know, that is my big seller. And yeah, I managed to ring up to D&D based designs, which I'm afraid I wish I had more, but I don't. And that's it.
What's it? I was going to say, it's the turnaround of that's been so crazy. You say, I wish I'd done more, but the fact that you managed to pull together like 2 designs, which are very much like the reason they exist is because we're doing this event, pretty much. The reason they've been made at this speed, like
they were in the plans from a while ago because they're both Baldur's Gate adjacent designs. They're not specifically Baldur's Gate, even though they reference it.
Yeah.
It is one is a design about the Mind Flayer, and the other one an owlbear. Obviously, you see an owlbear and you see a Mind Flayer in Baldur's Gate. The biggest crossover is the fact that the Mind Flayer is wearing the Emperor's garb. However, I connected them to my current style, which is the kaiju parody poster look. I wanted to do those for a while. I wanted to do something about those characters since I started playing Baldur's Gate about 2 years ago. So it would have worked either way. One way or another, I wanted to do them. Just this was the right motivation. And there's definitely a lot more ideas that I have in mind. I've played D&D for a very, very long time. I absolutely love it. And yeah, I just needed the right opportunity to dive into yet another fandom.
Yeah, and another one. Another one. It's people need to appreciate, and I will say this, that like the detail, like in the owlbear, for example, like just
Yeah.
I remember the process of you doing that.
So to give you a general idea, right? When I do one of those portrait pieces,
Right.
In my head, the process is going to be this. One day I'm going to sketch and do the majority of the outline of the main character, like the portrait, the side view.
Right.
Then on the second day, I'm going to do the details of the circle. I'm going to do the text at the bottom and paint that out, because obviously that doesn't come as is. I do it myself. And then I go back and add all the detailing in whatever like little ink marks that I do to give basically sculpt the face out a little bit.
Yeah.
That's a 2-day job. Those pieces are 2-day jobs, right? Those ones took 5 days each because of the sheer amount of little detail that there is, and little feathers on the owlbear. And I just couldn't get the armor right for the Emperor, because there isn't a lot of references unless you're like inside the game, and even then the angles aren't very helpful for referencing. But yeah,
they just look so good. The owlbear is a personal favorite of mine. I really like how
they turned out.
So yeah, so new designs, because we're just always giving you new stuff. People are always being treated by every time. This year, I think every time they've come to the Gilbone table, there has always been at least one new thing. So it just keeps going, these new set of designs. I do wonder though, and I guess, I'm sure we're thinking about this as we speak, or I'm not sure. The time means nothing to me anymore at this point. But as we're like, this stuff's going out, because it is a different audience. So does that mean that we need to think about a different approach to this? Maybe not so much the products we bring, but maybe that to a degree, but like the priorities, and like these lines would probably sell better for an audience like this.
Oh, definitely. So going into this one, like I said, there was a lot of information passed through the artists that previously attended this event. And the biggest highlight that I was told was that at conventions, we get quite a lot of late teens, early 20s people in cosplay. We got a lot of young families and so on, where for UK Games Expo, especially in the last 2 years, people have commented that the average age, again, do not quote me, this is what was said to me, and the general gist is that the average age is about 40 to 45.
Okay.
Right? It is people who are like veteran gamers, who are really into the board game scene, that are very into the D&D scene, some that do it professionally, like YouTubers who do D&D and so on. There's a lot of veteran card collectors that go, and if there is something that is within their realm of fandom that they like, right, money is not as much of an object as it is in other conventions, because we're not relying on pocket money and uni money. We're talking about people with actual money. With no offense to anyone, obviously. It's just the way it is, right? Therefore, the subject matter needs to be tackled a little bit differently. So in this case, instead of taking, for example, too much of more recent fandom releases like FNAF or like Animal Crossing, I am leaning more towards coincidentally Sonic, because that is a little bit more generational. I brought back one of my old serial killer horror t-shirts because again, someone of a bit of an older age, our age, really, would spot that and probably gravitate towards it more than something that is, say, I don't know, from the last few years, right? So yeah, there's definitely a little bit more thought and strategy behind what was picked. The strategy that I haven't sussed out properly, which is future me's problem, but current me is shitting their pants about it, is that there's going to be a need for a t-shirt order between MCM and UK Games Expo. Now, if you've listened to any of my social media or listened to the podcast before, you know that I always say there is a 20 working day queue for t-shirt orders to come in. So I, at the beginning of this month, had to beg my t-shirt manufacturer and say, listen, I have 3 events back to back to back, and there is no way that I can stock enough t-shirts for all 3 events. Also, I don't know what's going to sell. I will calculate this very, very quickly. So that is 5 designs.
By
5. So that's 125 of each times 30. I would need 3,750 garments, which would cost a lot of money, right? So we're not doing that. And instead, I asked, is there a way that I can order while we're at MCM, while we're packing? Instead of just packing, we're going to be the annoying people that go through a stock take mid-packing. Right? And then while we're traveling back home, I'm going to be compiling an email and send it to them, make the payment first thing Monday morning, and they are going to send me proofs on the day and try and ship it out the next day, which is crazy. Absolutely crazy, right? Especially if MCM is wildly good and we essentially sell out a lot of these things. One, fingers crossed that happens, but also it's terrifying to know that I could go to UK Games Expo with basically nothing. So future me's problem is, will this order arrive on time? Is it going to get lost in transit like many of my orders have done, where they're shipped somewhere else or shipped at a hotel and left outside? Or, you know, it does happen. We've known it to happen. But also, they will also be arriving not packed.
So that's got to be done.
So we need to be there packing, folding and labeling t-shirts before we go into UK Games Expo in the morning. So I don't know, it feels a little bit insane, but if we can pull it off, this could be the best financial position I've been in since I started doing this work, which is crazy. I am so excited. I'm so excited. I'm so excited to have money.
It's a nice thing to have money. We like having money.
I'd love to have some money, a little bit of money. At least I can correct my eyesight and I can see again.
Oh God. Yes. There will be a lot to do, and the fact that we do need to plan focus on more stock of different lines for this event, it is just so different. And I hadn't even taken into account. I knew there was a different audience in terms of like, it'll be people who are more into these genres, but no, you are right. It actually is quite logical that it would be maybe a slightly older generation. So yeah, their spending habits are going to be just completely different. But then also, if their spending habit, it's not just their spending habits different, it's what visually is going to appeal to them. So like, how do we make our display speak to those people?
So the thing with the display is that it's not only the people who are going to dictate how we change our display, but also the event itself. So for this event, all you get is floor space. So you get a designated, in my case, it's going to be 4 meters wide. Right? Yes. And 2 meters deep. And that's it. There's no wall. There's no table. There's no chairs.
Literally just a space.
Just floor. And you have to build up that space. Now, granted that there will be people who take advantage of that and not even have a table, for example. They could just have shelves.
Yeah.
As a good example would be Rob from Printing Like Rabbits, which can do just a ton of shelving and invite people to come into their space, and that's it.
Yeah.
But in my case, I am going to try and not only recreate our MegaCon type layout with the U, with the iconic now U that we have been using, but we're also using the photography rails that you sometimes see me use at smaller events. And instead of doing just 2 rails behind me, my table being at the front and me standing in front of these 2 rails with cascading t-shirts, but we're also going to have 2 more rails to the side, creating a total booth made out of different t-shirts, because honestly, there will be enough different garments to have. Obviously, if we sell out of everything, then it'll be just me, a tablecloth, and some stickers on a table. But I doubt it. I doubt it. Imagine if that happened, I would just be very happy. Sold all the stock, all of it. There's nothing left. My home is empty. Crazy.
What a situation that would be.
What a situation. But yeah, that is definitely how we will be adapting our display. I am going to be taking 2 of our hedgehogs with us. Again, the purpose is going to be to attract the eye of the customer. We're going to have Sonic and Shadow probably there. We don't have much in terms of interactive or themed displays, unfortunately, unlike some people who have, for example, I don't know if you spotted it, Jamie, but there's this wonderful wooden dice that we see at convention a lot. That is all handmade, and it's absolutely visually stunning. I wish we could do something like that for a more D&D-esque type setup, but it's just not in our budget as of yet. Yeah. I do think, though, down the line, we will be able to make more themed displays. That is my hope, anyway.
But yeah, we just don't know how a Gilbone table works.
I will say that if we were going to if we were going to another comic or anime convention, this wouldn't be an issue, right? Because it's literally same old, same old. We're just going with what we have, and if it's not broken, don't mess with it, right? But this being a completely different audience, completely different experience, there is no telling how it will go, and it could go completely wrong, and it could be a loss of money, but we're not going to think about that. We're going to think positive and hope that we have 2 MCM level events back to back. That is what I'm manifesting in the universe.
Yeah, I think so. I think there's great potential there. I think also, I guess there's one factor which I think will benefit us in one sense, which is that I like the concept that when the people who go to, maybe this is the only big event they go to, they don't do all the cons, they're not an MCM type person. So any fresh face that's like, oh, I haven't shopped with them before, I don't own their stock before, it's meeting a new brand. Yeah. So whereas I'm sure there are situations where people have come to our table before and go like, I love your work, but like, I've got enough of it for now. I'm going to browse something else, or maybe I've got everything I want currently.
Very true.
There's going to be so many customers who they've never purchased from us before, so everything is a first-time purchase for them, which we'll be very grateful for. We're very much looking forward to meeting these people. So that will be a good thing. I think it'll be interesting to see that. I think because it's not just that environment being new to us; we're new to them as well. So it goes both ways. It does go both ways.
Okay. What I'm very excited about for this particular weekend, aside from the convention itself, as you know, we talk a lot about socializing with people after con and so on. Unfortunately, and fortunately, I guess, I don't know, it will give us a new experience altogether. Most of the people that we do con with are not at this event, right? There's actually quite a few people that we know that are going. Shout out to our friend Hillman Handmade, which that you interviewed just a couple of weeks back. And obviously Printing Black Rabbits, because we are essentially sewn together and attached to it. But that does mean that this presented the opportunity for a new accommodation experience. And I'm very excited because we have rented a house and we will be sharing with Rob and his partner, Maisie. And we are very much looking forward because they teased us with the possibility of running a one-shot of D&D during the evenings after con, which I honestly, I could thank them by paying their share of the lodging for doing something like that, because that is just how much I love D&D. And it will be your first D&D experience as far as I can tell.
I have no idea what to expect. Like, it's all... I mean, that's a lie. I've watched a lot of D&D on YouTube. For some reason, it's quite nice to watch in the background. But in terms of doing it, in terms of what all those people are actually doing at that table, the dice, what that actually means. You know, I said roll for initiative earlier. I don't know what that actually means. That was, you know, it's
That's
like
crazy.
It's like I know these terms, but actually, is what do they mean in practice? So it's going to be very eye-opening. So I'm looking forward to it though, because I genuinely think it's something I could actually quite get into. I feel like
I think so. And the premise of this little trial run is in fact going to be that if we work well with Rob as a DM and you enjoy it, and I don't get on his nerves because of the kind of player that I am, then we might be looking into running our own campaign once a week on the convention creatives, which would be a lot of fun. I think it would be a very fun experience and one of those little cheats of forced ways to give me a break during the week, at least once a week.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
Because we will be working, because we're doing podcast stuff, but it will be something I am enjoying.
Yeah. So let's hope I enjoy it and then we can get involved in it. I'm very confident that you better. You will.
You better, yeah. I will be so disappointed. So disappointed.
So yeah, and honestly, it's quite nice that we have something planned around the con itself, because I feel like that's going to be a good way to just mentally, because it's like I said, because it is like you said, we are doing cons back to back, so anything that can take us into that weekend to be like, okay, a bit of a mind reset for a moment, I think would actually be quite welcome. So I'm very grateful that they're doing this for us. It means the world. You mentioned like the fact that there are people we know going, which also quite comforting for me, because there'll be people who are like, okay, something familiar, that's good. But I'm also hoping it's an opportunity to meet new people. I think it's going to be good to meet other creators and people out there, which, to be honest, has sort of been my experience for most of these conventions so far, because most of them are new to me. So I've just repeatedly been meeting new people. But again, this is a specific window into an audience that I've not had before. So I want to get to meet these people and get to know them.
I'm excited to meet a handful of new people. I still have no idea who my neighbors are. I should have looked, but I'd rather the surprise on the day. I generally mean that. I like being surprised on the day and be excited or gutted by who's next to me at a con. Which has been a very, very rare occasion. But there's always going to be that when you're next to someone that you don't particularly vibe with, or they talk too much, or they're just sloppy.
Not the sloppy.
Sloppy.
Nah, it will be interesting. I guess, yeah, because that's another point. I'm so used to just being neighbored with printing like rabbits.
Yeah, and now we're not. This will be the first event that we're super far away from them. We literally could not be further away. We looked, and there's this L-shaped type because it's multiple halls, right? So there's a hall here and a hall here, and we are on two opposite sides of the two halls. So unless you cut through the middle, through the atrium, we are a journey away from each other.
Yeah. So that's fine. I'll just go for a nice stroll. Be like, you all right?
Yeah, and we will be spending the evenings with them anyway. There is someone that I'm hoping you will get to meet, who is actually, she was my very first table helper in 2019. Her name is Rosie, or rather board game. She was Pin and Ink before. Board game queen and legend now, I guess. I don't know. I don't know. She's just Rosie. She's my friend Rosie. And people will know her from being the board game person that wears my hat.
Yeah.
Basically. And she's at the event every time because she works in the board game industry. I am very much looking forward to introduce you to her, and hopefully not only will we be able to collaborate with her by talking to her for the podcast, but I'm also hoping that we can snag her for an interview episode once the convention is over, and you can talk about the convention with someone who is more of a veteran about the con as well. So that should be exciting.
I think that'll be really good, because I like the idea of being able to talk to someone who, like you said, has a bit of experience in what goes on, because, again, it's all going to be new to me. And that, I mean, I already know in my head there's like things that I want to check out and get coverage of for our lovely show here, for you conventioneers listening and watching. So I want to make sure that I get a grasp of everything that's going down, because there is a lot of things that don't happen at these other events. And who knows, maybe I'll get someone to make me understand how to play a board game. And maybe someone can teach me something. Do you think if we go through this event, let's say it's a smashing success, or maybe it's a success, it's going to be something we want to come back to, isn't it? So we're not doing this as a one shot and like never again. Like we go into this sort of thing hoping surely
there's
that, like,
potential. It has to be incredibly bad for us not to do it. Because the way I am treating it right now, which is probably not the best way to go into it, but if I over order for MCM, then this will help me shift more of that stock. Yeah. Which horrendous thing to say, because obviously you should go into every con with like your top stuff, right? Yeah. But when it's something that is back to back after an MCM, unless you have an incredible amount of funds, it is difficult to cater for an event specifically for it. I do foresee that we will be back. So I am genuinely hoping that it is a good one and that we have fun in it and that the monies are worth it. Yeah. Because it is a fairly expensive event to get to. Not because the event itself is expensive, but because it is so popular that the lodging in the area is incredibly expensive. In fact, we are paying, I am paying for our share as a business, and it is about 500, 600 for our part of the house that we're renting. And that is because there were no hotels available. Yeah. Everything was incredibly and excruciatingly expensive. Keeping in mind that the hotels nearby, particularly so if I look at the name, the Hilton Metropole, people gravitate towards the hotels right next to the NEC, because once the event itself shuts, the hotels themselves start doing activities that are related to UK Games Expo. So the bar areas, they have things going on, board games, people hang out to play D&D there, so on and so forth. So those hotels, because they're participating, because they're doing, something for the event, and because obviously older crowd wanting to be close to the event so they can participate as much as possible, everything is jacked up in price to a crazy amount, and quite frankly, we just couldn't swing the money. But we, depending on what the takings will be, we will be going into it next year with maybe a little bit more than we set out to this time around.
Yeah, I think this is also, because that's an interesting point, this is one of the first cons I've been to that has a lot of officially connected events happening in the hotel next door. Like, I know there's live shows, board game libraries, there's a variety of open gaming stuff. So that's again another whole element that I've not seen before in a con. So yes, it did pop in my head though that when you're talking about obviously like how much accommodation is costing us, and the fact that, not the ideal scenario in terms of how we're approaching stock, but the nature of it being back to back, and also the limited time we had to prepare.
Yeah.
How would your strategy be different if you did have more time? If it hadn't been such a Travis, do you think you would have approached it differently?
Yeah, I think I definitely would have a lot more D&D themed t-shirts.
Yeah.
Mostly because I actually remember last episode we said I was going to do 15 new designs. The ones that I didn't manage to do were in fact all ones that were pen and paper related. So there was a lot of little gags and stuff that I wanted to do that were related to D&D. I wanted to do a couple more villains in my kaiju style, but I also have plans on for next year, if we if all goes well and we have the funds, I'm going to be doing some D&D themed socks. I'm going to be doing some other, maybe a more autumn looking hat.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think I will be throwing focus on doing some more D&D related things. Maybe I'll even have a set of pins that is D&D related. Maybe that will be next year's January Kickstarter.
Interesting.
So it would arrive literally on time now.
Yeah.
For MCM and UK Games Expo, and then we can take it there and see what happens.
Yeah, that's interesting, actually. That's a really good idea. So it sounds like, the con's not even over, and we're already making future plannings for future events there.
Yeah, mostly what I would have liked to do this time, but I couldn't because of time constraint.
Yeah. So I guess overall, we're looking forward to it. We can't wait for it to happen. And I think it's going to be quite an eye-opening experience for both of us for different reasons. And very good. I am literally being ascended to heaven right now.
You are.
Yeah, I'm literally going to heaven. So I'm going to have a word with some spirit to make sure that doesn't happen. And while I do that, we're going to take a quick break.
Perfect.
Because literally the fuck. We're back. I'm no longer in a different realm. I'm back in my living room.
Pulled you back down to hell.
They said you're not free just yet. We're really sorry. But we are back, and we're here for the final segment because we have talked so much con stuff. It is now time when we go into our own little end segment of fun bits and pieces, including
Jesus Christ, calm down.
Mailbag. I love mailbag. I'm so excited for mailbag. Just left my body in quick passion. Coop, as you all know, is the wonderful pigeon who delivers our mail. And if you have any important questions in your mind that you want to share with us, you need to find him on the socials. He's always a pinned post. Go comment on there or just send us a DM on any of the social medias we have and say it's a letter for Coop for the mailbag. And remember, if you don't want us to read your name out, just say and we will keep it anonymous. So, what has Coop got for us today?
This week, we are being asked a very interesting question. So, for those deep in the tabletop gaming world, what kind of merch do you wish more artists or creators brought to events like UK Games Expo? Now, given that there's so many artists who do so many things, right? I had a little think about this, and I thought of the most excellent product that I wish that people would start creating, right? If I were running a D&D campaign, a tabletop campaign, the one thing I would struggle the most, which I don't really because I'm gay and I love clothes, but what the average person would struggle the most is how to dress their character. So I think artists should start coming up with clothes catalogs for characters.
That's a cute idea. It's actually very cute.
And they would be selling these little booklets with, for example, peasant clothes for when they're trying to mingle in town, or like fancy dinner clothes.
Yes.
You know, and there'd be these little zines of different clothes sketches, like, you know, avant-garde clothing that people can buy. And then when they want to commission a piece of their character to an artist, they'd be like, this is my character, but this artist drew this piece of clothing and I want you to reference this clothing.
Yeah.
Right? And it would be like a Argus catalog for D&D clothing character. I don't fucking know. I think it's a brilliant idea and there's money in it. But obviously I am not that deep in the tabletop gaming world yet to be able to do this. That said, I love designing clothes and I love designing clothes for D&D characters. So maybe watch the space.
Yeah, I was going to say as someone who is so not in that world at all, it's like, well, what products would there be good? That's an amazing one. I think one thing I've noticed, because I have, in my times I've been doing these conversations with artists and stuff, I've seen the things they do have. And of course, a lot of people have dice in all sorts of varieties and beautiful forms, many, many dice. I've also seen a variety of like notebooks, D&D books, for players to have. But, I think Sophia Lou probably had my most favorite one in the sense that it wasn't blank. It actually had it was, because I think in a video we put up, she said how it was designed for neurodivergent people in mind who are really into this stuff, but get overwhelmed with like the statistics and information and like what's their character done, where's their character at. And it's just when I looked for it, it was a really easy way of just like cataloging where you're at. And I was like, that's a really good idea. And I love it when artists actually think, oh, actually, I love playing this game. What would make it easier for me to do? And they've made this product that not only is really useful, but really pretty as well. So I love it. I think anyone who takes that approach to how to make these games more accessible, but also just look really fucking cool, I'm all on board for that.
Speaking of Saphira Lou, I can bet money that we will be seeing Saphira Lou there. So that is one person that you can go check in with.
I will absolutely be checking in with her, see how her Jennifer Coolidge impression is going.
and the neurodivergent
see
triangle.
where on the
where are we on the triangle?
The
iconic.
The neurospicy triangle of hydration. See how where we're at.
Sophia Lou is so iconic. Absolutely a legend of a human being. Absolute star.
I said to her, and I will say to her again, like, I need that triangle as a t-shirt.
Fair enough.
It's your creation. Like, please make it merch.
Please
I will wear that around cons and be like, you know. Have you done the trifecta yet? Have you done the Holy Trinity yet?
Such fun. We have fun.
we have fun here.
We have fun here. Hilarious.
So again, if anyone has any questions, please send them in. We love your questions so much. The other thing we do at the end of the segment is we talk about hyperfixations, and it's kind of interesting to me because despite how much is going on right now, I think it's a good sign that actually there have been things going on in our lives that sort of just take us out of that for a moment, just have some enjoyment in the world, just a moment of peace, a moment to be like, good things. What is currently a hyperfixation for you right now that's putting you in that good space?
So because we're gearing up and discussing UK Games Expo quite a lot and talking to Rob about characters of D&D that I played in the past because he's preparing this one-shot for us and so on and so forth. And I said that if we were to do a campaign for the convention creatives, I would be playing my default character. And I know maybe a little bit boring. It's nice to have different characters, but unfortunately, I'm a little bit cursed with this character where I have never fully completed a campaign with this character, right? Something always happens, something wild. A parent died at one point and we had to stop the campaign. Breakups destroyed another campaign. So I am hoping that I can play this one character one time. And funnily enough, the name of the character is what I use always for my gaming characters. So whenever you're asked, when you go into a new game and you're asked, what is the name of your character? I literally always use the same character name, which is Brynjar. And Brynjar is a bearfolk character that is a little bit taller than the average bearfolk, being at 8 foot high. He's an 8-foot bear, right? He is a barbarian and he has a wonderfully tragic backstory. He is set out to find his younger brother who has gone missing, while the rest of their family has been completely decimated, and the younger brother does not know. So not only is he finding his younger brother, he's also going to have to let him know that it's just them left in the world. And Bryn has a very gruff personality. He does not mince his words. He is a barbarian after all, but he also is the epitome of being chaotic good. So he will go out of his way to make justice happen, right? He always has this like leading personality. I had a lot of fun designing the character. I had a lot of fun designing his clothes, which we're probably seeing on screen as this goes on. He has a little side profession as a blacksmith. He makes his own weaponry. And actually, his battle outfit, his original battle outfit, which is the black and white piece that you should be seeing right now, is actually a traditional costume from Sardinia, the actual land attached to Italy that is actually part Spanish. I don't fucking know. And the mask that they use is something that I incorporated in his background, where old farmers used to don that mask, right? And wear a boatload of bells around their chest. And they would walk around the perimeter of their farms to scare any animals that were approaching the crop,
Yeah.
because they would look like a monster and make a lot of noise.
Yeah.
Right. So that is something I incorporated in the character, which I found quite funny. And lastly, he always travels with his companion chicken, called Henny.
I can't with this name. I can't.
And she is a very special chicken because whenever you eat Henny, as long as the bones are kept together, she comes back to life to offer another meal.
Slay.
So he decided that when he met Henny, she had been used for a lord's feast for many years because she is prime chicken, right? And he saved her, and he decided no one would ever feast on Henny again. So that's it. That's the little background of my character, that I am cursed to never having fulfilled his story, and I'm dying to. So hopefully we will get to play him. Also, because when I decided to draw PB&J for the convention's creatives, PB's colors are Bryn's colors, right? I wanted to somehow incorporate Bryn into the podcast, and that is where Bryn's colors came into play, or PB's colors rather. Yeah, so I'm very into that. And obviously, on the same vein, Bear D&D, we released a new business card for UK Games Expo, which is Cubby as a Pictomancer. It is probably one of my favorite drawings that I've done so far of Cubby. It was an absolute outtake to make, but it was very much worth it, and I'm very, very happy with how it turned out. I was meant to be having this design as the banner for the table for UK Games Expo. Unfortunately, not this time, but next year, definitely.
100%. And the business cards in general are really cute because it's just Cubby cosplaying.
They turned out really well.
All these things, so really
Unfortunately,
cute.
we don't have them with us at the time of recording.
At time of recording, yes.
But we want to show them to you when we get them, because they are actually quite topical, because they're a card game within itself. So we will have a little segment about them once we get them.
Once they're here and in person. And it's interesting you mentioned the Cubby as your little D&D Cubby, which is so cute. Because my hyperfixation is also Cubby in an interesting way. Because, for context, I have not had a great week. It's not been the best week. It's not been 10 out of 10. And sometimes I just need to, again, step away. And usually there's two things I do when I step away. It's one, I find a creative project I want to do, or the other thing, which is what I do, and it's why it's been, but it's not the hyperfixation this week because it's been like 3 times is listening to Death Becomes Her. The thing I have doing that isn't Death Becomes Her this week is I have been drawing again, because I don't do it very often. Like, I used to draw a lot back in the day, and it's all a lot of, I like to sketch stuff, but this is something I've been doing this week to sort of take my mind off of how horrible the week's been, and has sort of led to me actually colouring something, which I don't usually do. And because who doesn't love Cubby and his ability to dress up in all sorts of things? And because it's one of the first animes I watched. It's him as Tanjiro.
Aww, that is so cute. That is so well done. That is so well done.
He's a little cutie.
It is so Cubby. That is super. That is so well done. That's so sweet. The composition is really nice too. Look at you with your framing of the water and everything. Damn.
I am genuinely actually really happy with how it came out. Like, obviously, it's a representation of my skill set, but for I've never seen something through to the end. So for that reason alone, I'm very chuffed with it, and has been the perfect thing to hyperfixate on. Has very much allowed me to zone out from just everything else and just focus on this. And then, so yeah, it's made me think like, oh, maybe I should do this more often, maybe for my own amusement more than anything else. Because I forget how...
I foresee a new artist entering the scene. I don't know, but that is good. That is so good.
I appreciate it.
I am genuinely impressed.
I think it's, I thank my long time being a Sonic fan for the numerous references of just, I've seen Sonic in every pose that ever exists. So like, I've just seen a variety of bendy limbs and I'm like, go for it. Why not do a bear? And I'm like, oh, it came out. It actually looks like Cubby. That's what I'm so happy about. So he finished and he still looked like Cubby by the end.
It did. Yeah. It does. It does very much look like Cubby. That is so good.
Thank you.
I'm really so impressed. I'm so impressed. That needs to be on some socials.
It'll be on a social somewhere. Maybe a story somewhere.
It will be no. I want it immortalized. I want it shared and immortalized. I love that.
Yeah. A good learning time and doing something creative that isn't videos. So we love. And
obviously, because it's a Cubby artwork, I just take it as a personal gift. Whenever someone does anything Cubby, obviously it's a gift to me. Thank you.
Of course, it's a gift.
I appreciate it.
Yeah.
I will make this about me.
Yeah. Now that we've discussed things that bring us joy, shall we put ourselves in a dilemma where we have to pick something over the other?
Okay.
Okay.
I thought you had given up on this segment. I was hoping you'd given up on this segment.
We occasionally, it's always good to have it in the rotation. It's just time once again to put PB in a pickle and make him choose it or lose it, where he has to pick between two separate things and decide which thing he keeps and which thing goes off the edge of the cliff, the ever-growing pile at the bottom of the cliff, where we can't go off the edge yet because we have too many cons to do. We can collect all our pepperami another time.
Not today.
But not today.
Cool.
Yeah. So, picture the scene. You're at the edge of a cliff. It's a soft breeze, a few birds chirping, waves crashing against a variety of things at the bottom of this cliff. On your left.
I'm down. Yep.
On your left is a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to play a one-shot D&D session run by your most favorite D&D players ever. It could be people who were in Baldur's Gate. It could be people who, fictional and non-fictional, people that you've watched on YouTube do D&D that you say, I would just love to do a session. I would love to play with them. Just your ultimate cast list to do your ultimate Dungeon Master. You're just the top pick. It can be alive, dead, fiction, non-fiction, just whoever you want to do this. Right. Ooh. And it's gonna have, there's gonna be a full set dressing, there's gonna be props, there could be cameos, there's live music being played, orchestrating the whole thing. It's like the most amazing one-shot D&D session. On your other side is a group of friends who let's say 5 people who you can't outreach to people you don't know or anyone, so just people in your inner circles already.
Yeah.
And it's that same 5 people. You can play D&D without any major fanfare as many times as you want, but it's those same 5 people forever. You can't change that rotation, so you're stuck with them. So it lets you play D&D for a long time, but you're stuck with those people forever. Do you want the amazing elaborate experience as a one-off, or do you want a long-term campaign with the same people forever?
Fucking hell. Jesus. So obviously I have people in mind for the epic campaign.
I'm curious, is there any you'd want to share? I'm curious what would be the dream list?
Oh, I would love to be in a session that Matt Mercer does. I mean, everyone would have said the same thing, right? But Matt Mercer, Critical Role, I would have loved to be even like fly on the wall while I watch him campaign, DM and everything. Absolutely fantastic person. I would just love to be in the mere presence of Ashley Johnson, who is also a player in Critical Role. I would love to play alongside the voice actor of Astarion, because he is genuinely a good player and a good voice actor, and the improv is just so on point. Absolutely gutted that he did so many conventions alongside me in 2023, and I couldn't see him once. I remember there was an opportunity at one point, but we were so wiped out that I wouldn't have given my best impression, so I decided to not go. And gutted. I did, big regret. So there's definitely a few key players that I would mostly the cast of Critical Role. Right.
Fair. Okay.
I would say there's a lot of them that I've come to love, even though they have no idea who I am. But and I mean that parasocial relationship. However, in reality, a D&D group, once you find your D&D group, and I am not going to go into the semantics of this question that they're shit players. I'm assuming if I'm playing with them, it's because I enjoy playing with these people.
You've chosen them, yeah.
Well, not necessarily. I've played with people who the DM generally is the dungeon master who chooses the players, right?
Yeah.
So sometimes the players just don't get along. It just happens, right? But I think I'm happy with choosing 5 people to always play with and be able to play whenever I want. Very much so.
I respect that.
Because having a reliable group for D&D is literally the downfall of most D&D campaigns, because you never get a reliable group.
Ah, interesting.
People always have something to do, and they're like, oh, not tonight. I'm not feeling it tonight.
Yeah. So the reliable group has been chosen, and the all our favourite friends from Critical Role off the edge of the cliff, not to the deaths because it's mostly padded by Pepper Army, Hasbro Hotel stock.
Please don't kill anyone.
It's the safest drop ever.
But also, like we said, we are hoping that if the chemistry with Rob as our DM works out nicely, as well as Jamie enjoying the campaign, the concept that we have come up with, I don't know who is even watching at this point in the episode, so it doesn't matter that we talk about it now. No one's listening. The concept that we're going to go for, if it all works out, is that myself, Jamie, and one more player who is Glasgow's Stephen, who does conventions with me whenever I am up north. We will be the recurring players in the campaign. Rob will be DMing us, and we will hopefully have 1 or 2 guest players per adventure. So it will be one longish campaign, but the people will be coming and going depending on their availability or depending on the story itself, and that will come down to Rob's creativity, people's schedules, and so on. So I am hoping that the people that we get to invite will be our friends from conventions. There's a few people that I would like to ask. I've already asked more than a few of them, and the participation so far has been positive and excited. So I'm very excited about the prospect of doing this, and I think we will do these as unedited episodes.
Yes, we will.
So, mostly because every session is like 3-4 hours long, so there's no editing that. So we are going to have that on a separate thing altogether, and just press record. Shenanigans ensues, and that's it. We see what people enjoy out of it. If they enjoy it, if they don't enjoy it, at least we'll be enjoying it.
Yeah. It will be an experience, and I think something our listeners will very much look forward to. that's the end of our episode. We've come round to the other one. We've done it. We've got through a variety of topics and so much to look forward to at UK Games Expo and other stuff we've been doing. And there's another con round the corner. It's just con. There's just so much going on. Thank you so much for listening. If you enjoyed this episode, give it a like, give it a comment, and if you're listening on a platform that has a star rating, please rate us 5 stars. It costs you nothing and helps us so much. Don't forget, if you want to find us on any of our social platforms, we're on everything as The Con Creatives. However, if you don't want to manually look for us on each thing, I get it. I know I'm the same way sometimes. There's a website for you. Perfect. You need to go to www.theconcreatives.com. Not only will that show you every social media we are on, not only will it show you every podcast platform you can view and watch us on, but it will also tell you a variety of products you can purchase. You can purchase to support the show. But we also have a lovely page full of all the different companies we collaborate with. So if you want to have a check out of who we're working with, who supports us, and also grab yourself some good discounts. For example, right now, if you go to the website, you can check out our collaboration with Shirt Hero, where if you use the code CONCREATIVES10, you can get 10% off your order. So there's awesome things like that. Check it out. See what's up. It's going to be continuously changing as we meet new companies and new people come around. So keep an eye on that too. I think that's everything. So until next time, goodbye.
Ta-ta.
Ta-ta, TTFN.
The Convention Creatives podcast is hosted by Gilles Bone and Jay Eggman. Art and design is by Gilles Bone, and editing and production is by Jay Eggman. To find out more, visit www.theconcreatives.com.